Ladies and gents, it's Blackfinch here, and with the long, distantly promised scouting tutorial. So, we're going to start with what most people think scouting is. Well, not necessarily think, but the way that the vast majority of people play when they first get very, very fast scout tank. And it's something that is aptly named suicide scouting. So I'm here in my 5916 on Siegfried Line, and I want to spot as many as the enemy as possible, as quick as possible. See, this is AMX-12T. I'm not going to let him scout in front of me. No, I've got to get past him, got to be faster than him. I know I am, so he peels off that way. Making for the gap, making for the gap. And I'm through, and someone spotted a tiger. How rude. And I'm out. I'm spotting enemies, More and more of them are appearing, taking a hit. And generally this is how it ends. There we go. Well done, T124. So, first and foremost, it's important to understand suicidally launching yourself at the enemy isn't the only way of scouting. There's two other kinds of scouting, generally called passive and active scouting, or if you prefer, hidden scouting and moving scouting. And I'm going to demonstrate now, in this game, the trickiest kind of scouting, and that is passive scouting. I'm here in my MT-25, which is the little Russian tier 6 scout. Fairly unpopular, its view range is, I think, the worst of the tier 6 scouts. I may be wrong, but it's certainly not the best. It's got a very high profile, so it's the least stealthy of the tier 6 scouts. It is quite quick. I mean, I'll get it up to about 70 kph here, just over. And I am heading for a bush that I know very, very well. And now, this is dependent on a couple of things. First of all, I need to know I can get to this location without anybody spotting me getting there. So, I've seen the enemy team's got one scout, the VK2801. Had I seen him coming here, I'd have had to bail out and relocate, but I haven't, so I'm in. And now, sit here, deploy the binoculars, and already targets are coming up. Now you'll notice the one thing that I'm not doing, tempting as it is firing at these targets, because the second you fire, your tank becomes infinitely more visible. Now, none of my scout tanks yet have the skill 6th sense, which is very, very useful skill for scouting. It's not, however, essential. So if people tell you it is, it's not. It just means if you don't have it, you have to play with a modicum more caution, and you have to rely on 6th sense Mark II quite often. 6th sense Mark II is if shells are slamming into your tank, you've been spotted. Very reliable, never lets you down. If it's happening, you've definitely been spotted. But as you can see, I'm just sitting here passively watching what's going on. Now, this is a tier 9 game. My MT-25 is armed with allegedly a tier 6 gun, but there's the other scout, the VK, and I'm glad to see that he's gone. This IS-6 here is the biggest danger to me. It's the closest tank. I know if I fire A, it'll take me 2 shots to kill him if I can actually penetrate him, and B, their whole team will see me and I will die. So I'm having to resist temptation. My advice is keep your mouse off of the trigger while you're doing passive scouting. Occasionally say to yourself, bang, you're dead, and pretend that you're killing them, sure, but actually pulling that trigger is going to be the end of you. There will be a time later in the game when you do get to have a little bit of fun. So this is passive scouting, and we will come back to this game, and it is basically racing to a location. Sometimes, you know, you'll use multiple locations throughout the course of the game as the game develops. It's 5-0 right now, 6-0 right now, and my spotting is having a large influence on the outcome of the game. Not to mention the quality of the players on our team. But I am going to take a bit of credit myself here. So the next type of scouting is active scouting or mobile scouting. stuttering, blurting. So I'm here on the same map, this time in the AMX 1375. Now 1375 isn't quite as speedy as the M325, so rather than heading to one of the bushes around F1 E1 on the map, I've decided I'm going to push up to the central line and do some active scouting. And by that I mean you drive into a position where you're seen and quickly retreat back to safety so that you're spotting the enemy without being killed. This is the difference between active scouting and suicide scouting. With active scouting, your priority is to stay alive. Now, I've not seen anyone yet. I've just taken a hit from the tiger. Shouldn't have stayed still there, too close to the enemy. So, it's a bit of an active scouting fail. But I'm going to continue to skirt this time, poking my turret off over the top as little as possible. Someone spotted that IS-8. It could be me. It could be the T-34. It's also got a very good view range. It's just behind me. I think it was me. But I do spot this ISU-152 here, which lets my team... He'll be spotted for a few seconds, and there's skills you can get to extend this. It lets my team wipe him out, and when you spot a target, half the damage that is done to it, if the person shooting is reliant on your spot to do the damage, is allocated to you at the end when the credits and experience are handed out. So that's the perk of being a scout. You can get credits and experience for doing damage without having to actually shell out money for the ammunition bonus. Not to mention that you can greatly help your team and really influence the games. So anyway, this is active scouting in a nutshell, and I'll leave this one rolling for a few more seconds. So, scouting skills. Suicide scouting, the skills really don't matter. You're just going to drive straight at the enemy and die very quickly. And there are times when it is the best thing to do, but those are few and far between. Once you're dead, you can't influence the game entity. So, in terms of skills and equipment layouts, the most useful piece of equipment for active scouting is coated optics. This gives you a 10% bonus to your view range whenever you're the whole time. Then there is binocular telescopes, and that gives you a 25% bonus to your view range, but only after you've been stationary for 3 seconds, and you need to remain stationary for it to work. You can move your turret, you just can't move your tank chassis. So here, passive scouting, I'm using binocs. For passive scouting, the most useful skill is camouflage. If you're going to be trying to passive scout more than other options, and again, this game demonstrates, camouflage is the skill. Now, it's for active scouting, the mobility skills and the view range skills are a big bonus. And for some reason, I've just crept forward there, but it doesn't matter. So, camo net is a must if you're going to be a passive scout, and then for your active scouts, those that rely on speed, quite often the suspension upgrades. Now I'm starting to fire now, I know the enemy's a long way away and I'm very stealthy, but yeah, the suspension upgrades are worth investing in, because the last thing you want to do is hit a lip or a jump, especially in like the small low profile super fast tanks like the ELC AMX, and track yourself and leave yourself immobile and prone, surrounded by enemies. It will be a quick and unpleasant end for you. So, on a final note, it's worth investing the time to have a look at how the spotting mechanic works. Now, if you go to the World of Tanks wiki, they explain it really very well there, and I highly recommend you take the time to have a look. So that game, I did 8,133 spotting damage, and 3,342 experience. With the double, that's 1,114. Got my ace tanker, and came first on the team. And bear in mind, I'm tier 6 tank in a tier 9 game. Very influential on the game, and I took home 65,000 credits, 92,000 credits with the special event that was running. So that's the perks that scouting can throw your way. I hope this video was insightful to you. Please check out my other videos or subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking to join a clan on the EU servers, Brit6 that I'm a member of is recruiting at the moment. I have put the link to their site down below in the description.